So we're on to round 39, and this is actually the first round of the border or edge that we're doing. So if the main design for the mandala is completely done, so if you like where you are and like the edge you have, you can stop now, or you can continue to add any of these 3 following rounds that together make up the decorative edge that I'm putting on there. So to start, we're going to find one of these clumps of overlay stitches from the previous round, and if you notice, we have one of them that comes after the lavender puff stitch, this set here, and we have one that comes after the pink ones, sort of this one here. We want the one that comes immediately after the purple puff stitch and sort of before this pink one. So this set right here, we want to join in the first of the overlay stitches. So right here, remember that is our first stitch, so that's the first single crochet. The repeat starts with 2, so that's 1, this is 2, and this brings us to the middle of this pattern of overlays from the last round. And what we're going to do is do 2 more overlay stitches right in the middle here into that green front loop that we have from before. So we're just filling in this space in between. So treble seems to work pretty well here, so we're going to do 2 into that same front loop. So there's 1, and these are not 2 together, it's just 2 separate trebles. Right there, just to fill in that space. We did 2 here, we're going to skip those 2 from the middle there and pick up with the first of 14 single crochet in the overlay that comes after it. So you notice we're just filling in that space. So like I said, 14 single crochet now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this should take you to the next set of overlay stitches. That's 12, 13, and 14. So that sets me up to do 2 more treble overlay stitches into the green front loop right there. So we yarn over twice and do 2 separate overlay treble crochet stitches into the same green front loop. There we go. We did 2 stitches there, so we're going to skip the 2 stitches here. And now we have 8 single crochet starting in these overlays. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you like landmarks, you can see that's bringing me right up above the lavender puff stitch. We're not done, we got to get all the way over to here, but what I want to insert right here is my increase. So I'm going to do an increase, 2 in the same, and then after that 5 more single crochet should get me to the end of the repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, notice I'm all set up, so my next repeat can start in that first overlay stitch that comes after the lavender one. So here's what the repeat looks like. Basically, we got a bunch of single crochets and then we're filling in these gaps here. So we want to start in the first stitch in one of these overlay clumps that is after the lavender and sort of above and before the pink. So we start with 2 single crochet, then 2 treble into the same green front loop, skips 2 stitches. We have 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 single crochet, followed by 2 more treble overlay stitches into the green front loop, skip 2. Now we have 8 single crochet bringing us to our increase and 5 more to finish out the repeat. So that's it. It is 35 stitches total. You're going to do it 8 times around and fill in all those little spaces, and then I'll see you for the next round. So we're starting round 40. We're going to use the light blue yarn that we haven't used for a while. We used it back here and in some of the earliest rounds. So we're going back to that, and we're continuing with the edge that we're adding on to the end here. So again, with each of these, the whole pattern is done. If you like the edge as it is, you can stop now. Otherwise, continue. We have 2 more rounds to do with the edge, the sort of more decorative edge that I designed. So we're going to start above the same stitch we did for the last round. So what you want is one of these clumps of overlay stitches that kind of come between these 2 puffs, so after the lavender and just slightly before the pink. We want this variegated one here. We're going to go into the green stitch right above that. We're going to join there, and that join counts as our single crochet. That's the first stitch in the repeat. This is only 7 stitches that we're going to repeat 40 times around, so it's a much smaller repeat, but we do it a lot. So we have a single crochet to begin with, then we're going to do a half double. So we're going to yarn over, draw up a loop, and then draw a loop through everything on the hook right there. And I split my yarn a little bit. That's the one downside of this blue yarn I have, is that it tends to cut up and split. So single crochet, half double, now a double crochet, and these are not overlay stitches, they're going right into the back loop of the green from the last round. So that is my double. Now I've got a treble, see if I can get this yarn to play nice. I have a treble crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm going to reverse all of that. So we're going to start with a treble, not skipping any stitch here. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 for my treble, a double, and then a half double. And that's the repeat. So we end up with sort of these little points that we'll have going around. So again, we start with a single. So there is only 1 single per repeat. Everything else we get 2 of. We just get 1 single. Then it's half, followed by a double, a treble, a single crochet, or not a single crochet, I'm sorry, a chain stitch, another treble as we start heading down the stitches. After the treble comes a double, and we finish with a half. And then start the next one with another single crochet. So that's it. It's just going to give us these sort of waves around the outside. So again, we start with a single. That's the only single for the repeat. So single, half, double, treble, chain one, treble, double, half. Start your next one. Single, half, double, treble, chain, treble, double, half. Back down again and again, all the way around until you can join the two ends. So that is round 40. I'll see you at the next round, which is the very last for the whole thing. The last round, we are on round 41, which is going to be the last part of the border or edge. We're going to do a bunch of single crochet. We're going to have double crochet in between each of these sort of bumps. And at the top of each of these bumps, we're going to have picots, either a bunch of 3 or just a single one. So let me show you how to do this. You are going to need to do some picot stitches, so I'll try to zoom in so you can see it, but if you're not familiar with those, you may want to practice them and check them out. I think on some of the other videos I have here, especially the overlay bag, it shows how to do the picots pretty well with a close-up, so you may want to check one of the end videos of that if you've not done them before and you're having trouble with them here. So we're going to join in, take any one of these sort of bumps from the previous round, and if you notice at the top of them, between the 2 treble crochets, we have that chain stitch, so you sort of have this little space up at the top. We want the first double crochet, so remember this space is between 2 trebles, which means the double crochet is going to be the one that comes before that. So you get the top of the bump, the space, this will be a treble, this one here will be a double crochet. So we're going to start there, and that place we join counts as our first single crochet. We're going to have 3 of them. So 1, 2, and here for this one, I'm going to go right into the chain. You can go around the chain if you would prefer, but I'm just going to go into it right there. That's my 3rd one. And then here we're going to do not just 1 picot, but what I call a club picot. And the only reason I'm calling that is to have a shorter name for it. And because in the end, since it's 3 picots together in 1 stitch, it kind of reminds me about, or kind of looks like or reminds me of the club from a deck of cards. So if you've ever played cards and the suit, the clubs, it's kind of what it looks like to me. So to do that right here, right after our 3rd single crochet, what we're going to do is chain 3 for our first picot. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to, for the picot, come back in. We want the front loop of the single crochet and the left part of the V below it. Come in and do a slip stitch there to close it off. So that would be just 1 picot, and if that's where we ended, you'd go ahead and go into the next stitch. But we're actually going to do 2 more in the same stitch. So for the next one, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 this time, and secure it in the exact same way. So if you look, I'm going to take the front loop from this single crochet, that last single crochet we had, and in the V where it connects to the stitch, we want the left hand part of the V. Drop a loop and pull that through the loop on your hook, just like in a slip stitch. And just make sure I get the whole thing there. So that's 2 picots. Now we want the 3rd and last one, and we're going to go back to a chain 3. 2, 3. So chain 3 and secure it the same way, the front loop and the left hand part of the V. Pull it through like a slip stitch, and that's it. So that ends our picots right there. And now after that, we are going to do 3 more single crochet. So we're into the treble crochet here. It's 1 single crochet. I have another 2 and 3. So we're obviously not done with the repeat, but I just want to show you what the 3 picots look like once you have them and sort of stretch them out. Like I said, to me, it kind of reminds me with these 3 little bumps about, or it reminds me of the suit of clubs from a deck of cards. So your first picot, 2nd, third. Remember, that was chain 3 for the first one, 4 chains for the second one, 3 chains again for the third one. So after those, we had the 3 single crochet, which brings me down now to the single crochet that comes between 2 bumps. And here, instead of just doing a single crochet in here, I want to do a double crochet into this variegated stitch down here. So double crochet yarn over once, grab the front loop of the variegated row below, and finish your double crochet there. I'm going to skip the one behind it and have 4 more single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, gets me up to the top. The 4th one goes into that chain that comes between the 2 trebles. Now here, we're not going to do this club picot where we did 3 in the same one. We're just going to do 1 single picot with 3 chains. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again for the picot, here's the single crochet at the bottom of the chain, and you notice the V right here. So I'm going to want to go into, let me loosen this up a little bit. When I come back, I want to go into this front loop of the single crochet and this left hand part of the V that attaches it to the round below. So you chain however many you need to chain. In this instance, it's 3. We go into the front loop, into the left hand part of the bottom V, drop your loop and pull it through the other loop on your hook. Only doing 1 here, so that's the picot, that's it. We stop. We have 3 single crochet to get back down the bump. 1, 2, 3. Notice that brings me to the single crochet between the 2 bumps here. So again, we're going to do a double crochet into the variegated round below, the stitch that's right below it, and finish our double crochet there. To end this repeat, we're just going to skip the stitch behind it and do a single crochet right here into the half double from the previous round. Notice I'm all set for my next stitch to be in the double crochet, one that comes before the trebles there. That's how I started, that's how I end. So here's the repeat. The repeat is going to consist of 2 bumps, if you will. So we're going to start here in the double crochet. We have 3 single crochet that gets you into the chain stitch between the 2 at the very top part of the hill or bump. Then we're going to do a club picot for the first one. So you do a chain 3 picot into that single crochet, do another chain 4 picot into the same single crochet, and then another chain 3 picot into that same single crochet. So you have 3 of them into the same one. 3 single crochet get you down the hill. That's gonna get you right to the stitch between the 2, and we're gonna do a double crochet into the blue round, the blue variegated yarn below. So we sort of have these posts between each bump. 4 single crochet get you up to the top of the next bump, and here you're only going to do a single picot. Chain 3 picot, that's it. You've got 3 to get down the hill, and a double crochet into the variegated yarn below, the front loop down there. Skip 1. Make sure you skipped 1 here too. When you do these double crochets, you want to skip the stitch behind it. And just to finish the repeat, you're only going to have 1 single crochet here. Then you just continue. If you're following it more from the pattern than anything else, you're going to do the single crochets all the way up to the top, do 1 into that chain stitch here, do a club picot, so chain 3, chain 4, chain 3, all into the same one, do single crochet down to the bottom of the hill. When you get to that single crochet, make sure you throw in a double crochet overlay stitch instead. Single crochets up to the top, do a single picot, single crochets down to the bottom, do a double crochet. So that's all it is, back and forth around the whole top. So you get these alternating little peaks at the top of each one. That's it. It's a complicated border, but go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll see you at the very end for the very end of the whole project. So that is the last round. Once you join your ends here the same way we have every time with the needle join, all that's left is finishing off the piece by weaving any ends that you have left. Now, if you're like me and you hold them in as you go, you'll notice I don't have a lot of ends left to weave in. In fact, the only thing I have is this very last one that I just did the needle join with to finish that. So go ahead, finish off your ends, weave them in, and that's it. Congratulations, you are done. This mandala is complete. I hope you enjoyed it, and continue watching the channel here to see more patterns in the future. Thanks.